Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis, weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of The Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
The Oasis is brought to you by Solar Tech Jamaica. We use the gift of the sun to power our world.
None of mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all schoolers who are taking beats.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team, Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Me sing, every pressure, no, you're illiterate and foolish,
Good evening, Jamaica, and welcome to another edition of the A-Team Radio Show right here on Nationwide at 90 FM. Of course, this is the A-Team with Dennis Brooks, but this evening this is Damien Scarlett sitting in, and it's always a joy and a privilege to carry you through this program. I have in studio with me some wonderful guests, and if you are not yet on the YouTube Live, I think you need to get over to the Nationwide 90 FM YouTube channel to see who we have in the studio this evening. Well, summer is out, or summer is up, back to school time, and the CXC and CAPE results are out. Can you believe it? School opens in just a matter of days, right? So the free paper bun, as we usually say in Jamaica here. Right, this evening, ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in, we are focusing on exam success stories. We have with us this evening Dejanay McFarlane, along with Matthew James in studio, and we will be joined on Zoom by Kyle Carr, and a little later on we'll be hearing from Mekona Campbell as well as Mrs. Anisha Gordon McFarlane. So it's a full house today, lot to get through, but as I said before, we're focusing on exam studies, and if you passed your exams, CXC and CAPE, you did really well and you're excited about what's next for you, hop on the Nationwide 90 FM Live and let us know how you're doing. And if you'd like to send a shout out to someone, I want you to get on the live and to do that as well. But we have some persons in the studio this evening. I'm going to start with Dejanay and then Matthew, just to tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about yourself. If you see them right now, they're just ready to go. Hey, let's go, Dejanay. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What school do you go to? That's the first thing.
I attend Arden High School.
Yes.
In my free time, I like to read a lot, and I don't know what else to say.
All right, so you like reading.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Matthew, how about you?
Yeah, I also attend Arden High School. In my free time, I watch movies, TV shows, try to pass the time, especially now since school is out. I can watch anything I want now. But yeah, that's mainly what I get on with.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Interesting. Love that. And how did you guys spend your summer? Let me just start there, because before we get into the crux of the matter, what did you do for summer, Matthew?
Well, I went to Ochi with some friends, for example. Usually right here.
Okay.
We took a Ochi trip. Go-karting up at Palisadoes.
Right.
You know, just hang out with some friends and family.
Okay, love that. All right, anything different from what Matthew just said, Dijane?
Oh, I spent the first half of summer mainly working.
Love that.
Yeah.
All right, we have to get the income in. All right, so now that results are out, how do you feel in this moment? Well, before you tell me that, after exams were finished, how did you feel? And then the period leading up now to the results coming out, because recently I was at a camp and some students that were at that camp, they got very anxious because they were saying that, oh my sir, results coming out tomorrow, you know, and they don't want to go back home to face the reality. But tell us, what was your experience like? Let me start with Matthew.
Okay, so after I did the exams, I was fairly confident in most of them, but especially a couple of days leading to results, I was nervous, man. I was very nervous. And it's weird because for July and the beginning of August and mid-August, I was relaxed, but one post on social media that told me August the 20th results were coming. It just sent my head into a spiral. So,
wow.
Yeah.
How about you, Dijane?
Well, the one subject that I was fairly confident about was econ, which I got a 2.
Right, love that.
After exams, I don't know, I was really nervous because it was really different from CSEC, and I didn't realize that CAPE was that different from CSEC, so I wasn't sure how I did and how they'd mark it. But yeah.
So you had to do like a complete 180, 360 mental preparation from moving from CXC to also to CAPE. What about your friends though? How are they feeling in this moment? Because sometimes, when you are excited about something, you tend to forget people sometimes, But what about your friends? Have you spoken to them? How do they feel now?
Yeah, I've spoken to my friends. Most of them were nervous, just like I was, but they're satisfied with their results. They thought they did worse. I think we all had this big idea in our heads that we did worse than we did, but they're good.
When you saw the outcome, they were relieved.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things, though, in terms of preparing for exams, that kind of mental pressure that is there, what do you think was the most challenging part of this preparation process? So let's talk about that, and then we'll move into what's next for you. Matthew, yes.
Well, for me, it was studying on time, because for CXC, I studied 2 weeks before the exam, and I said, all right, CAPE is more advanced, so definitely not going to do that again. That just put on more stress, but ended up doing it again, putting on the stress again.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it paid off, because most of the studying I did was for subjects that I wasn't sure about. The ones that I were confident about, I put them on a back burner, so it kind of relieved the stress, especially since we're doing 4 subjects now, lighter workload in terms of the 8 or 9 we were doing in grade 11. So.
Okay. All right. So I want you two guys to hold that point. We're going to be taking our first break, and when we come back, we will have much more. We'll be hearing from Dijane, Matthew, and Kyle, and also we have in studio with us Mrs. McFarlane, who is just waiting to go. This is the A-Team Radio Show. We'll be right back after this break.
You've weathered the storm, but rebuilding and preparing for back to school have taken a toll. It's time to get some money in your pocket. At Chris and Charles, we understand your financial needs. With just a quick call, you can access funds to catch up on bills and cover unexpected expenses. Our process is fast, simple, with funds deposited in your account in no time. Don't stress, get money in your pocket. Call 876-926-0609 or visit our website today. Conditions apply. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
World Coconut Day is back again this year, and it's even bigger and better. Celebrating under the theme, Coconut for a Circular Economy, building partnerships for maximum value. Come out on Saturday, August 31 at 18 Waterloo Road for an exciting broadcast on Nationwide 90 FM. We will broadcast live from 1 to 5 p.m. during the Design Studio and outside with Pepita. Don't miss out on the array of displays, awards, and competitions. Not to mention, a wide variety of coconut products will be on sale. This is going to be a day filled with fun, excitement, prizes, and surprises. That's a live broadcast on Nationwide 90 FM from the office of the Coconut Industry Board at 18 Waterloo Road on Saturday, August 31 from 1 to 5 p.m. This broadcast is brought to you by the Coconut Industry Board.
Missing.
Welcome back to the A-Team Radio Show right here on Nationwide at 90 FM. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the voice of Damon Scarlett. And this evening, we are focusing on exam success stories. Right across our nation, listeners and viewers, a number of our students have done exceptionally well. They have crossed over that hurdle, and now they are rejoicing about the results and looking forward to starting sixth form, some of them, and others are moving on to university. In the break, just before the break, you were hearing from Matthew and Dijane, both students at the Arden High School. I feel so outnumbered because my school is not being represented tonight, but that's fine. That's fine because all schools are great schools, right? And I know our engineer's daughter is going to, is that school, right? The Arden High School as well. So, pure Ardenites in here this evening. But we're joined now by Kyle Carr. He is a student at the St. George's College. Good evening, Kyle. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, great. Greetings. So, just like I asked Matthew and Dijane, what was your exam preparation process like as you were entering, your CSEC?
So what I did was I made a list of my subjects,
Right.
which one I'm struggling with. I put at the top of the list for me to spend more time on, and the subject that I'm like very good at, put that at the bottom of my list. Like that's not a big priority for me at the moment. I'm practicing the other subjects more so I can get a good grade in those.
All right, thank you for that. So you see a little strategy that is happening there. Matthew and Dijane, did you have a specific strategy that you used in terms of, balancing all that you have to do? Matthew, like you do sports too, right?
Oh, no.
The sports. All right, so how do you balance just like your academics with your extracurricular activities, clubs and societies that are there? We hear Kyle saying that he balanced it in such a way where he was able to put the subjects that he was struggling with first and to work on those. So what really worked for you? Let me start with Dijane.
I just looked at the timetable for CXC and I mapped out like the days I had exams and the time I had between exams, and I made a study timetable based on that, and that really helped me to manage my time wisely and give each subject a fair chance.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And so you spend adequate time on those subjects and ensuring that you're able to master them and to do them well. Yeah. Did you feel like you had pressure from like your friends in terms of like this inter competition kind of a vibe? Did you have that, or just that everybody was just working together to just boost themselves?
No, I feel like at Arden we don't really have that type of like competitive spirit towards each other.
Okay.
We just kind of wish each other the best and we study together when we can.
Okay, all right. So thanks for that, Matthew.
So
your strategy.
Well, it's similar to what I said earlier. Focus on the subjects that I wasn't as strong as in the other subjects, and balancing that with co-curricular activities, for example, Key Club. It wasn't that difficult because Key Club was mainly like after school affairs, and I would study during the day before key club, etc. So in terms of study timetable, I wish I made one of that. It would have made my life so much easier. But I looked at the actual timetable, see what subject I had first, focused on that, and build on the other subjects, especially during the periods where I had like 5-6 days to myself. So yeah, that was it.
All right, so definitely their strategy helps young people. Remember that as you're pursuing your academic goals, you have to have that kind of strategy. I want to bring in Mrs. McFarlane here because one of the things is that when you have a good parental support, psychologists and so on, they tell us that it helps to improve the students' behavior, just their approach towards their schoolwork. You've been noticing Dejanay, for example. What, from your vantage point, what was that like, and how did you support her in that process?
Well, Dejanay is a very focused and dedicated student. And however, I noticed during COVID there was a change.
Right, yes.
And she was experiencing symptoms of social anxiety. I guess because of the isolation, being out of the classroom. And so I and her father realized that there was something wrong, and we sought counseling for her, where she was actually diagnosed with social anxiety and anxiety disorder. The counseling helped tremendously, and so she was able to sit her C6 and was very successful in them, and the tools that she learned from that also helped in her sitting for CAPE. So I am a very proud mother, and by the way, I'm also an Ardenite.
Wait, what's happening in here this evening? All right, but I want to go back to what you've just said in terms of carrying her through that process. This COVID, post-COVID era. And what that was like for both of you, because as you were talking just now, I can see, that, as you're reflecting on all that you had to go through, yes, and to deal with that anxiety, that kind of pressure, it must have been a relief when you would have gotten those results and heard how well Dejanay did. What do you think was the driving factor? Amidst all of that, what was the driving factor that kept you going so that you could support her? And then I guess Dejanay can tell me what was her driving factor to keep her going amidst the pressure there.
My driving factor was to be the best mother and support structure that I can, because growing up, I also had anxiety, but didn't know that it was anxiety. So knowledge increasing, you realize that some things that we thought were just normal is actually not. And so I wanted to give her the best support that I could to ensure that she succeeds in what she's doing.
Okay, thank you for that. And we do need parents to play an active role in the students' development. And I mean, for some parents, you might not understand the work that they're being given by their teachers, their tutors, but just how you show care, and your involvement, going to the PTA meetings, knowing that they're getting their assignments done, providing the basic tools that are necessary for them. Those are the things help to make a difference. And we salute all parents, not only Mrs. McFarlane, all parents for their involvement in the life of their children. Kyle, so did you have any specific teacher or anyone that you want to perhaps shout out to that really helped you in achieving your results? Then what I'm going to ask us to do, if it is to share our results with everyone to see how, so that we can know how well you did. So let me just go with Kyle. You there, Kyle?
Yes. So I have maybe like 3 teachers. I have my chemistry teacher, firstly, Miss Thomas. She really helped me. And I have my POB teacher, Miss Danai. Yeah,
Okay.
she helped me as well. And also Miss Paul, my TD teacher.
Okay, so big up to those teachers. And what were your results like? How many subjects did you sit this year? And share with us what they were like.
So I sat 8 subjects, and so for the course subjects, math, English A, and English B, 2 1s and 1 3. For physics, I got a 1. For technical drawing, I got a 1. For IT, I got a 2. For chemistry, I got a 2. And for POB, I got a 1.
All right, congratulations, and that's a good job there. Job well done. When I heard TD, my mind went back to when I did technical drawing. I don't think I got anywhere near there. That wasn't for me. I was more on the business side, But salute to all those persons who did extremely well in those areas. How about you? Let me start with Matthew and then go to Dishane in terms of your results.
Okay, so for ComStud, I sat 4 subjects.
And that's at Cape level.
Yeah, Cape level.
Yes.
Communication studies, a 3. Biology, 3. Pure maths, 1. And chemistry, 1 with distinction.
Oh, with distinction. Love that. And Dejane?
I did accounting, which I got a 1 in. Economics, 2. Entrepreneurship, 1. And communication studies, 1.
All right. Congratulations. I love that. I believe we have Mekona on the line with us. Hi, Mekona. Good evening. Are you there?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Yes, I'm here.
All right, great. Thanks for joining us, Mekona. We're just really sharing our results. What were your examination results like? I know that you are a student at the Meadowbrook High School, and you're moving on to pre-university. Just to tell us some of the subjects that you sat.
Okay, so I did my first unit of CAPE. I sat accounting, communication studies, management of business, and law. So for law, I got a 1 with straight A profile for distinction. Management of business, I also got a 1 in that one. For communication studies, I got a 2, and then for accounting, I got a 3.
Wow, congratulations there. And when you mentioned the straight A profile, I said, usually like eyes open up wide. It's just like, this girl is bright. Listeners, viewers, what this really shows us is that the importance of education, and when we invest in our nation's children, as they say that the sky is the limit. Education, as it's been oftentimes quoted, is the passport or the gateway to the future. But when we come back, we're going to touch a little bit more on what's next for Dejane, Mekona, Matthew, and also Kyle. And of course, Mommy will tell us what she's anticipating for the future. This is the A-Team Radio Show. We'll be right back after these messages.
Outperform, outlast, guilty. We top performance, guilty. Chakama, reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electricians. Pan select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61114. Delta Supply. We service what we sell.
World Coconut Day is back again this year, and it's even bigger and better. Celebrating under the theme, Coconut for a Circular Economy, building partnerships for maximum value. Come out on Saturday, August 31 at 18 Waterloo Road for an exciting broadcast on Nationwide 90 FM. We will broadcast live from 1 to 5 p.m. during the Design Studio and outside with Pepita. Don't miss out on the array of displays, awards, and competitions. Not to mention, a wide variety of coconut products will be on sale. This is going to be a day filled with fun, excitement, prizes, and surprises. That's a live broadcast on Nationwide 90 FM from the office of the Coconut Industry Board at 18 Waterloo Road on Saturday, August 31 from 1 to 5 p.m. This broadcast is brought to you by the Coconut Industry Board.
It's the weekend and the youth are taking over the airwaves. Yes, we are the new voices and faces of the Talk Up You radio show. The voice of the Jamaican youth right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
After a busy week of work and school, come unwind with Jamaica's #1 youth radio show.
We're bringing you entertainment, fun facts, and staying true to youth development and advocacy.
Catch the action each and every Saturday as we roll out buzzy segments. What say you?
Youth for chat,
life skills,
global connect, and Bust the Youth.
That's the Talk Up Youth radio show, Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie.
Talk Up Youth, don't miss it.
Me sing, boop, boop, boop. On every pressure, no more. You're illiterate and foolish, you might on a cook, and you're not gonna get no work.
Welcome back to the A-Team Radio Show right here on Nationwide at 90 FM with Dennis Brooks, but this is Damien Scarlett sitting in this evening. I have with me a studio full of bright, brilliant young people here and also on Zoom, and of course we have a parent in the studio that is really filled with joy about the performance of her daughter. Just before the break, we were just touching on, their examination results. What we want to hear from our guest this evening is what's next for them as they seek to navigate the future. The results are out, but it doesn't stop there. The hard work doesn't just stop at CXC and CAPE, because they have to move on to Unit 2 for those persons who are going to do another level of CAPE, and for those persons who are looking forward to university. And if you hear some of their plans for the future, you'll be blown away. So let me just start with Dijane. What are some of your plans as you seek to navigate the future? What's next for you?
Well, I'm starting grade 13 in a week's time. And then after that, I plan to go to UWI to get my degree and then master's in psychology and probably minor in business.
All right. Love that. So a psychologist, entrepreneurship thing, I'm working there. There's something else that I want to talk to you about in just a little bit. Mekona, are you there with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. What's next for you? And then I'll go Kyle and then Matthew.
Okay, so I'm also going into my last year of high school. So I will be doing CAPE Unit 2. And then after that, the plan is to go to the University of the West Indies so that I can get my LLB, which is my Bachelor of Laws.
All right. Thank you. Love that. Kyle?
So I'm gonna go on to do my Unit 1s in CAPE, and then maybe I'll do my Unit 2s after which I'll go to the university to get my bachelor's in quantity surveying.
All right. Love that. So the future looks bright. Matthew?
I will be joining Dejane at Arden for Unit 2.
I like how you put that. I'll just be joining Dejane at Arden. All right. So listeners, viewers, what we're talking about here is just the future of our nation. And we know that we spend a lot on education and we invest in them. And as we think about the younger generation that we have, those persons who are below us in third form, fourth form that are coming up, and they're seeing you and how you performed during the last academic year. What are some of the advice or the encouragement that you can give to them in this moment? Because it's not a joking thing, especially when you get to fourth form and you know that you have to start preparing for exams. And we know some students start take CXC from as early as fourth form. So as they are listening to you now, a few days left before school reopens, the joking thing have to put on right now. They're listening to your voices. What encouragement would you give to those who are listening? And then I'm going to bring in back Mrs. McFarlane. I'm going to start with Kyle, that is on Zoom. Kyle, go ahead, and then Mekona.
So just like stay focused on what teacher is telling you. Don't really waste time.
All right, stay focused and don't waste time. All right. Profound words there, Makona.
For me, I definitely say find what you're interested in and really passionate about at this early stage, because I find that it becomes a lot easier when you're genuinely interested in the subject area that you choose going forward. So that's what I would give advice to some students. Just choose what you're genuinely interested and passionate about, and everything else would align itself.
All right, thank you. So choose what you're passionate and interested in. I like that. If I had more time, I would expound on that, because I know sometimes people tend to do things based on what other people want them to do, but you really have to find your niche area, find what you love. So thank you for that profound word, Matthew.
Well, start studying from now. Whenever you have classes, after classes, when you reach home, read over your notes. So when it comes down to it, all you're doing in preparation for the exam is revision, taking the load and stress off yourself.
All right, thanks for that. Dijane?
I would say stick to the syllabus that CXC gives you, because I didn't really realize how much they actually follow it, because I'm not used to that. But whatever is on the syllabus is what will be on the exam paper. So you just need to study the syllabus and you'll be fine.
All right, study the syllabus and you'll be fine. Again, my mind goes back to my time when I was doing exam and trying to come up with a proper way to study and to balance everything. I don't know if it is that case where them say sometimes guys, gentlemen don't take things too serious, so like the ladies, they will spend more time to go into details, and you see the highlighters in the notes and those things, and you wonder, so what am I doing differently, but it's all a part of the process, and we seek to balance that. Mommy McFarlane, how important is it for parents really to provide that kind of support for their children? Emotional support, financial support. Earlier on, you spoke about the counseling that was needed after you recognized what was happening with Dijane. And I'm sure there are many students, especially coming out of the COVID period, locked away from society, their friends and all of that, just navigating that period. There may be parents that are, not maybe, there are parents that are listening to this program this evening. What advice can you give them? Because you might just encourage someone this evening. So go ahead.
Well, I would say to parents that to pay keen attention to your children, because you know them more than anybody else, and you're able to identify anything that is not normal, and talk to your children. Have a relationship with them that they can come to you and talk to you about anything. It must be that they're comfortable to know that you're not going to judge them for anything that they say to you that you may not even be approving of, but you can support and guide and direct them in a path that you know is better for them. So parents, just pay keen attention. You don't have to be their friend, I'm not saying that, but be somebody that they can be you can be a confidant and provide that support to them.
Well, that's true. Thanks for that. I mean, students go through rough days, right? And there are times when they want to come home and to share and just to open up about what's happening with them. And what is critical too, I'm not a parent, but from what I've heard, that you have to be so vigilant and to kind of sense to know what's happening in the life of your child, because sometimes they come from school and they're not even speaking. So you have to do that kind of assessment.
Well, I must tell you that from primary prep school going up, every day when I pick her up in the car, it's offloading, and sometimes you don't want to hear it, but you have to listen because you don't want her to believe that you are not attentive and you don't want her to tell you everything. Right. And so from then on, that relationship has been building where she tells me, at least I believe, everything.
At least we hope so, right?
Yes.
And that's good, and that's building and strengthening the relationship between parent and also the child. You mentioned something earlier on, and before we go to our next break, the importance of prayer. You said that in the vehicle when you're driving before every exam. What you said that takes place?
Yes, we would pray together before every exam. So when I drop her off in the morning, we would stop and we would pray before she comes out of the car. And I find that helps tremendously. So you also help your kids to develop a prayer life for them to know that God is able to help them to remember, bring back to memory. That's the prayer. You do the hard work, you study, but the Lord to help you to bring back to memory what you have studied and how best to apply it in the exam.
Right, love that. That's a prayer is a good antidote for us to have. Matthew, I know part of your plan for the future is to pursue acting studies. Why that field specifically, if you can say that?
Well, it's because of my love for maths. Before I was in the medical field, I wanted to become a cardiologist.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then especially in sixth form doing pure maths, I'm actually pretty good at maths. So and I know it's a very
brother, man. What about a different boat? Me not doing the maths thing, but sure, go ahead. I hear passionate.
So yeah, I know actor is a very good field. They're in demand, so they pay well. So I'll apply my math skills to real world and make a living.
Okay, you almost sound like the next finance minister, because he's the mathematician. What I love though, what I'm hearing from our students and Mrs. McFarlane is that they already know what they want and what they're going after. Because at this stage of your life, if you don't know what you want to pursue, then I would want to think that something is wrong. I'm not saying that they're going to have it all figured out right now, but at this stage, to have an inclination of this is what I want to do, this is what I'm passionate about, these are my strengths, I work towards it, and wherever my weaknesses are, then I have a duty and a responsibility to build on that. So the same thing for Kyle, for Mekona, Dejanay, and Matthew. We're going to be taking our final break, and when we come back, we'll just touch some more about just their holistic development and the plans for the future and how they're really going to strategize and to navigate that as well. This is the A-Team Radio Show. We'll be right back after this.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come on, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
World Coconut Day is back again this year, and it's even bigger and better. Celebrating under the theme, Coconut for a Circular Economy, building partnerships for maximum value. Come out on Saturday, August 31 at 18 Waterloo Road for an exciting broadcast on Nationwide 90 FM. We will broadcast live from 1 to 5 p.m. during the Design Studio and outside with Pepita. Don't miss out on the array of displays, awards, and competitions. Not to mention, a wide variety of coconut products will be on sale. This is going to be be a day filled with fun, excitement, prizes, and surprises. That's a live broadcast on Nationwide 90 FM from the office of the Coconut Industry Board at 18 Waterloo Road on Saturday, August 31 from 1 to 5 p.m. This broadcast is brought to you by the Coconut Industry Board.
Me sing, bup, bup, bup. And if you pressure who no more, you illiterate and foolish, you might on a cook.
Welcome back to the A-Team Radio Show. We are in the final segment of our show. If you're just joining us, you'd be missing a great conversation with some of our nation's brightest young people. We have in studio with us Dejanay McFarling, Matthew James, and joining us on Zoom we have Mekona and Kyle. And earlier on you'd have heard from Mrs. McFarlane. Ladies and gentlemen, you have not seen him or heard him in a little bit, but he's here in the studio with us. We have none other than, I say the boss, Dennis Brooks. How are you doing, Dennis?
How you doing, man? Hi, evening to you guys. Glad to be sitting in. It's been about a year now since I've been on a hiatus.
Right.
I'm usually fast asleep at this time. Every now and again I get to listen, and sometimes I listen on a Saturday morning when I'm coming from a certain place.
Right.
And it gives me great joy. I must say, Damien, that it gives me great joy. This program that I started in 2002, to know that it is in good hands.
Wow.
And I feel an immense sense of pride.
Yes.
To sit in the studio and just watch. But I mean, it's so great to be in studio. These young people, I mean, they're so bright. Even in the midst of their nervousness, they are so articulate and so forward thinking, and it just gives me great joy.
And I love that, and thank you, sir, for what you shared. Looking on, as you mentioned, you've been doing this since 2002.
Yeah.
Each year, as you see the students matriculate and they get their results, how does that make you feel, and the fact that the program has been helping them in that regard as well?
It is very much a sense of achievement for me, because, I mean, bear in mind, there are people sitting in the parliament who were students on A-Team,
Wow.
I knew them as debaters, and then they became guests on the show and so forth and so on, and I feel very happy about these things.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, back then there was no social media. This is pre-Facebook,
Yes.
Then there was we were on air during the high five days, and then the Facebook, and then during MSN Messenger time, and
I don't think I remember that.
So these are, I mean, the technology has evolved, but at the time, I remember as a teacher at the Queen's School and later as a teacher at Immaculate, I was able to, as a marker of CAPE, be pulling together people from different places.
Yes.
And now, you probably end up in a WhatsApp group with somebody, and it's so much different, and so it is very, very different now. And but some of the challenges still remain. When you look at, for instance, the national pass rate for math in the region of the 30s, whether it's 31% or 36% or 39%, depending on what you're counting. You look at some schools and the pass rate is in the 90s. So some of the times it's really the challenges that we have are not national problems, and which is why even in the promo that we continue to play, we acknowledge that there are students in parts of Jamaica who don't have the benefit of the teachers that Dejanay and Matthew have. And so if we can have a forum where we can bring them together so that they can benefit, then it might make a difference in how well they do.
Right. Thanks for sharing that. And I know for the Ministry of Education, they continue to emphasize the importance of the STEM education.
Yes, they do.
Which, of course, mathematics is a part of that. And just looking at the media this past week, and the fact that the math and English, as you said, that the rate has declined, it's also a cause for concern.
It is. It is a cause for concern. I mean, I acknowledge that maybe it might be just a year-on-year comparison, because if let's look at the trend lines and look at where things have been, the trajectory that we've been on for the last decade, for instance. Have we seen is this a blip then?
Yes.
Or is it something that we may have a serious cause for concern? Those are, I think, questions that we have to ask ourselves. But when we look at the students themselves, I listened to the students. I mean, it wasn't an interview, but we heard him share his perspectives last year, Matthew, when he passed CSEC.
Yes.
And just to see his maturity and his evolution as a student. Now he's actually aspiring to go and mad himself at the University of the West Indies.
With actuarial studies, I don't know how.
I know one or two people actuarial science mad.
Right, exactly.
But I mean, just the fearlessness in taking it on, because there are so many people in the insurance industry who work and design insurance policies, for instance, who they are actuaries, and they're working out the probabilities that a particular lifestyle choice will cause this, which will cause us to have to price this particular policy at this, or to create a new policy. Those are things that the next generation of actuarial scientists may very well have to do.
Right.
And so I look forward to seeing how that plays out as I listening to Dejanay, as someone who did psychology as their first degree, and looking where psychology took me. Psychology and some criminology with it took me into teaching sociology, which took me into also into the sociology of communication, which took me into strategic communication, which took me back into law enforcement.
So many levels and angles.
There are so many, which says, when I was their age, I was convinced I was going to work at the Bank of Jamaica. I was when I was in sixth form. When I was in sixth form, I was all about econ.
Yes,
and then it was just there was a big shift in upper six, and I was just all about psychology, all about studying the science of human behavior. And I ended up being a very, very passionate sociology teacher, to being a very passionate journalist exploring sociological issues, and now I'm where I am in a law enforcement capacity. And I'll say this: don't constrain yourself, because you might be focused on, this is what I'm gonna do, and you might not know that actually what you're doing now is really, you're just laying the foundation for an amazing career in something else.
Wow.
And so that's encouraging.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Dennis. So as you guys listen, and you spoke about the different angles that you can take. I love that point about not constraining yourself, because you may never know where you will end up, and you don't want to limit yourself to one particular area. So as you continue to grow and you continue to excel, do what you love. One of the things I want for us to, before we close out this program this evening, how do you motivate yourself generally? I know there's the academic side of things, but life is full of so many problems. How do you stay afloat and keep your focus going amidst all that's happening? I want to start with Dejanay, then I'm going to go to Mekona if she's still there, and then back to Matthew and Kyle before we go.
Okay, I'm going to be really honest. One of my biggest fears is disappointing people. So whenever I feel discouraged, I just think about how I would be disappointing my mom if I give up, and other people around me.
I don't know what to say after that. It's so profound. You going to say something to this?
What I would say is that we are all motivated intrinsically and extrinsically. Dejanay, the future psychologist, is going to learn this, that there are internal motivations and then there are external motivations. So, I mean, Matthew, when you listen to him, Matthew is thinking, I'm going to do this actuarial science degree because it pays really well. Pay is an extrinsic motivation. You understand? You might want to be, you might be motivated by virtue of how it's going to make others feel, or how proud you're gonna make your mom. But I will also say to you, focus on the internal motivations. Focus on, how am I going to feel about this? What's going to make me happy at the end of the day? What's the contribution that I'm going to make to this society called Jamaica? Am I going to leave it in a better place than I found it?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of a thing. And so it's not so much about the money, but about the impact. Like, I want to make an impact. I want to leave a mark. I want to write a book. I want to write a song that's a hit that everybody's going to be singing 30 years from now. So if you're a musician who's only focused on the money, you might not ever make a hit song. Focus on making a song that people are going to be singing about, and that they'll look and say, you know, say my high school years was defined by that song.
Right, definitely.
You know, that's how I look at motivation.
Yeah, thank you for that. And that's value added. That's a DJ shaking her head and saying yes. Mekona, you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
All right. So, what keeps you motivated, Mekona? If you can share with our listeners.
Okay, so it's definitely one of two things. I agree with Bijane. When I think of being motivated, I definitely think of, you know, giving my parents what it is they have poured into me. You know, I'm basically their investment. So when I think about everything that they've done, the money they've spent, it's really, I think of like, oh yeah, I definitely cannot let them down after everything they've done for me. But for myself, it's also a thing where I can't wait to see myself as that lawyer in the courtroom defending my clients in front of a judge. There's something that's so fulfilling about seeing myself doing what I've seen other people done in real life on my television screen. That's definitely something that motivates me to do what I do.
Well, thank you. And we want to encourage you, because we know that's a lot of reading that you're going to have to do, a lot of cases that you're going to have to examine as you write your paper and explain those cases as well. So all the best to you. I want to switch the question as we seek to close out our program this evening. Kyle and Matthew, I have nothing... Well, I'm a bit careful because I want to go into the gender thing, you know. But I love the fact when the young men, especially in our society, they know what they want, they can go after it, and they're motivated and driven by that. And I just want to ask Kyle and Matthew, there are many problems that are happening in Jamaica. Dennis earlier on spoke about the contribution to our society. What is one thing that you would love to see different in our country? If you could change that, what would that be? Kyle and then Matthew.
So one thing I want to see different in the country is like maybe the amount of people that are dropping out of school.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you don't want to work on that. All right. So no more school dropouts. Matthew?
For me, is the amount of students choosing to do maths. For example, in my pure maths class, there's like a handful of us. Probably don't even pass 10. And my teacher, Mr. Ellis, was saying how these numbers, not only at our school, but at different schools, is concerning, because he's not seeing a lot of, future mathematicians because they're saying, oh, maths is too hard, etc. So I'd like to see more people involved in that area.
Right, mathematics. So championing that cause. So you're gonna have to become an advocate for that, right? And similarly, I know for Dijonay, you wanted to, as we were talking earlier on, championing that cause in terms of coping mechanism and helping persons to deal with the mental challenges that come their way. And you are a success story on many levels. And I'm going to just give you the last word in terms of to encourage somebody out there that is feeling stressed right now, whether by school or whatever it is that have them feeling anxious. Give them an encouragement.
Okay. The biggest thing with anxiety is the more time you spend worrying is the less time you have to do the thing that you want to do. And it's always bigger than it really is in your head. So I would just say, just try to find whatever coping mechanism works for you and calm yourself down and then think clearly and go from there.
Thank you for that. Calm yourself down. Think clearly, everybody. And that not only goes for students, that goes for us as adults as well. Sometimes we need to slow down and think clearly, and then we move again. Ladies and gentlemen, Abigail Adams says, learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and attended to with diligence. I pray that as we seek to go back into a new academic year, that our young people, our students, will attend to their studies with diligence and much ardor. That's where we leave it this evening. This is the A-Team Radio Show. I want to say thank you to Matthew, Dejanay, Mekona, and Kyle, and of course, Mrs. McFarlane, and of course, Dennis, who was here with us this evening. And as he would normally say,
well, no,
Shalom.
Yes. Oh, yes. No, I was about to say what I said at the beginning, but take care. Shalom.
All right. Until next week.
So big up all the youths of KC, Woolmans and Meadowbrook. Me look and me sing and say,
World Coconut Day is back again this